So the question was, if your only choices are reverse osmosis or distilled, is reverse osmosis better? In my opinion, it is. First of all, how many of you are familiar with reverse osmosis? Everyone understand this? So let's talk about this for just a second. Let's talk about distilled. Distilled, you boil the water. There's a stainless steel collection plate. The steam rises, condenses when it hits a solid object, and rolls down this collection plate into a second chamber, where theoretically you have pure water. Now, do you have pure water? Not necessarily. Why not? Well, there are some substances, including toxic substances, that boil at a lower or the same temperature as water. Where do they wind up? In that supposedly clean container, right? Reverse osmosis. Let's start by talking about osmosis. So osmosis is a natural process. It's interesting because people will sometimes talk about salt moving. Salt doesn't move. What happens is water moves. Anyone here been in the Dead Sea? You spend a lot of time in there?
45 minutes.
You come out thirsty?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's going to dehydrate you. Okay, it's called the Dead Sea because the salt content is so high that nothing can survive in it because salt will dehydrate you. So the reason it dehydrates you is simple. Water moves from a low concentration of solute to a high concentration of solute. So if you get into the Dead Sea where the concentration of salt is much higher than it is in your body, water is going to migrate out of your body. It's going to dehydrate you. It dehydrates every organism. That's why there's no fish. That's why there's no frogs. That's why nothing can live in it, because they'd all become desiccated in a very short period of time. All the water would be sucked out of their bodies. Okay, it would kill them. So you can go in there for a short while, but you don't want to spend too much time in there. Okay, so that's osmosis. Osmosis is where water, not solute, not the salt, and it's not just salt. It could be anything, but it's often a form of salt. I mean, we talk about sodium chloride as salt, but there are many salts. Salts are a combination of a mineral and chloride. So there's sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, potassium chloride. These are all mineral salts. And most of them are found in processed food, which is a problem because they'll dehydrate you. Osmosis is water moving from a low, the body, to a high concentration, the Dead Sea, of solute. Because there's more salt, the water migrates. Reverse osmosis is where water is forced through a membrane. Right? Osmosis just happens naturally. But you go into the Dead Sea, water's going to leave your body. Okay? Reverse osmosis, you're actually forcing it through a membrane with tiny holes, which theoretically, I mean, depending on the size of the hole, determine what can pass through. So do we have any scientists here? Anybody ever work in a laboratory? No. Because if you need ultra pure water for scientific experiments, for many experiments, they use distilled water. And it was actually in Israel a couple of years ago. I was doing a full weekend seminar, and there was a scientist there. We were talking about this water issue, and he raised his hand and said, "I'm a scientist. I work in a laboratory. We use distilled water for many of the experiments. We need pure water. There can't be anything in the water could affect the outcome. It has to be pure. And the bottle is labeled with a skull and crossbones. Right? Don't drink this. It's poison. But if you need ultra pure water, then you actually use a very, very fine micron filter, tiny, tiny holes, and you use reverse osmosis. But these are super expensive units, right? The good news is if you want reverse osmosis, you don't want a super expensive unit. You don't want something with a very fine filter. You want a normal household filter. Why? Because about 10% of the minerals still get through, and you want those minerals in the water. So reverse osmosis, I believe, is better because it does a very good job of eliminating the most toxic substances, but still allows about 10% of the minerals to pass through, assuming it's a household unit, which I haven't looked at the price of these things. We had one in the house nearly 30 years ago that probably cost $75 or $80. I don't know if you can still get these things for $100 or so. Anyone know? $200, yeah. I mean, that's, if that's what you need to have high quality water, that's not so terrible. And I'm talking about a countertop unit or an under sink unit, right? There's some you can snap on to the end of the faucet and use, it's only connected when you want it. There are others that are permanently plumbed in. You can buy a whole house unit for several $1,000s, but you don't need that for drinking water. I mean, I had one of those in my first house. I installed one of those, and it was a couple $1,000s. And it meant that the water in the shower had no chlorine in it, had no fluoride in it. So all the water in the house was clean. If you want that, yes, you're going to pay a lot more money. But you can get a simple countertop unit for drinking water, which can process, maybe 2 or 3 gallons a day, which might be enough. If there's 2 of you in a household, that might be all you need. If there's a lot more people in the household and everyone's drinking a fair amount of water, you might need something larger than that. But I would, my opinion is that reverse osmosis is, the right unit is going to be better. We had a couple of brothers here a couple of years ago who were both very successful, young, successful entrepreneurs from Australia. In fact, one of them was 30 when they came, and the previous year he was named one of the top 30 entrepreneurs under 30 in the country. And they were both millionaires, at 30. And so, they live together and they share everything. And so they went and bought the best reverse osmosis unit you can get. You don't want to drink that water. That's too pure. You actually want something that's less expensive. So the question was, well, can you not take this ultra pure water and then add minerals back into it? And the answer is yes, theoretically you can do that, but there's some issues. I believe it's very difficult to create something that your body sees as the same as what occurs in nature. When we add things in, the body doesn't interact with it the same way. And if you're adding things in from food grade sources, your body thinks there's food coming. So the best way to do, you could probably put some sort of stone in there that would, I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, to me, it reminds me of a situation. Our last place in the U.S., and there's a picture up here. We had this big place up on top of a mountain on 17 acres where we could house 18 guests. It was a beautiful spot. And we had a well on site. And the well water was, theoretically, it was safe, but it had a strong smell and taste from sulfur, right? And that happens because you get plant material in the system, which then dies and breaks down, and you get these sulfur compounds. It wouldn't hurt you, but you don't want to brush your teeth with this stuff, right? So I had a water company come out. I said, can you resolve this? And they said, yeah, we can fix this. What we'll do is we'll chlorinate it, and then we'll filter the chlorine out. And I said, yeah, no thanks. That's not what we're looking for. We've already got perfect water. We just have to find a source of it. Right? Find a good spring. That's going to be your best bet. You have to be careful because humans have polluted much of the groundwater. So coming out of the ground doesn't mean something's not necessarily healthy, safe to drink, but it's going to be your best bet if you can find a safe source. Okay? I suppose there may come a day where we don't have that option anymore, and then we have to ultra purify it and then find a way to make it useful. There is a way to do that now, right? And most of you guys are doing what you need to do, because I believe the best solution is to get your body truly clean and well working and hydrated, and then keep eating fruit and leafy greens, which contain ample, pure, perfect water. We can't do better than that. That is the best source of water for us. The problem is that you're gonna have a very hard time getting hydrated just eating perfect diet if your body's not clean enough, because you still have this giant sponge of old material sitting in there. Hi, enjoying my videos? If you'd like to learn much more, check out the Academy for Vibrant Living, where our Vibrant Health course will teach you everything you need to know to take your health to an amazing new level. And if you'd like to turn your passion for health into a lucrative career, check out the Health Coaching course, where you can become a professional, certified health coach and help as many people as possible see amazing results.